So I was once told that dogs listen to me because I have alpha dog blood inside of me. And I completely disagree with that because I don't think I have anything other than anemic blood inside of me. So where did this come from? I was once called to a client's house and she had the sweetest little Shih Tzu doggy. And her problem was when guests came over to party, and they must have been in their 30s, the dog would get all upset. And the last time they had one of these very alcohol-filled parties as such, the dog nipped one of the guests. So I went over, I met the dog, sweetest dog possible, played with me, I showed them what to do. And I basically said, next time you have a party, let the dog be in the bedroom. If he doesn't like all of this and your guests, when they're a little inebriated, don't know how to behave, put him in the bedroom. So the next time she had a party, she put him in the bedroom. And of course, one of the guests went over there and disturbed the dog and got snapped at. So again, I was called. This time when I went, she said, listen, I'm going to have one of my friends come over so you can talk to her as well because, nobody believes that my dog is not aggressive. So I said, okay. Now this friend saw me working with the dog and she's looking and she's saying, you know what? He listens to you because you are alpha dog. So I just looked up at her and said, what? And by now, this was afternoon and she had already 2 tequilas down. So I said, what? And she said, you have alpha dog blood. And that is why the dog listens. They sense it, they smell it. I said, right now, I don't think I'm smelling of anything, alpha dog blood-wise or anything. So I said, what are you talking about? She said, even my boyfriend has it, which is why the dog listens to him. It's all about the alpha dog. And they are born to smell it and they're born to sense it. And for a minute I said, should I just start launching on my little tirade to tell her that this doesn't even exist? I said, you know what? I'm just going to let her be. She's 2 tequilas down. So I just smiled at her. But she was convinced. And I'm saying this is an educated person who's talking like this. There are so many myths about this dominance theory and alpha dog and all of that. And where did all of this come from? So it actually came from a study done long ago, which was a flawed study. It's been proved to be flawed. It was done on a group of captive wolves. And that showed that wolves interact with each other through all these acts of dominance. And so if they do it, the dogs must do it. And if we want to live with dogs, we have to do the same thing. And I said, that's not how it's going to work. It's a flawed study. And that flawed study has led to so many dogs being labeled as dominant and alpha, and he thinks he's pack leader and you have to put him in his place. And it's led to a lot of training, which is all about control and intimidation and physical force. And when you really look at the world of dogs, do they have pack structure? Yes, they do. Do they have a hierarchy? Yes, they do, but it is fluid. And it is not maintained through these positions of strength and dominance and pinning down dogs. All of this has led to dogs actually becoming fearful, mistrustful of their pet parents they're living with. And why do you want to keep a dog in your house and then intimidate him, pin him down, let him scream and struggle with that alpha dog rollover, and then show him who's the boss? Is that why you brought a dog home? I think no, right? We bring dogs home so we can be best friends with them. If I did that to a friend of mine, if I pinned her down, she's going to stop being my best friend. So here's this whole thing. What is then the dominant dog? What is this whole dominance theory that we say? From my perspective, this is what I see. A dominant dog is one, I would say, that controls people within the pack or controls them. It doesn't mean he necessarily uses physical strength. In my opinion, a good pack leader is one with excellent communication skills. This has nothing to do with physical strength. At one point in our home, we had like a large pack of dogs. We had 2 Rottweilers, we had 1 Cocker Spaniel, a Mudhol Hound, a little scrawny Indie dog, and 2 Labradors. And among all of them, their little pack leader within them, I would say, was Zena, my Indie dog. She wasn't the strongest, but she had excellent communication skills. So coming back to this, in my opinion, the way I define dominance in dogs is a dog that controls his pack through simple behaviors, controlling through grooming, attention, all of that. The problem arises when the dog feels just doing what he's doing is not working well enough for him, so he needs to use aggression. And that's when we say the dog is dominant aggressive. Typically, I would say these dogs are aggressive towards the family they live with, but towards strangers, outsiders, they can be very friendly. which is quite contradictory because we've all heard of this saying, right? The dog doesn't bite the hand that feeds it. But in this case, the dog only bites the hand that feeds him. So here's the whole conundrum about this, right? So should you take a dog and discipline him? Should you put him in his place? Should you, have somebody control the dog all the time? Should you eat before he eats? All of that. And my answer to that is no. Honestly, when I started working 30 years ago, our programs involved a bit of that. And I'll come to that in a minute. But why does the dog do it? Let me come to that first. Here's what I've seen with my work experience. In most cases, when we keep a dog at home, if we don't have one firm set of rules for the dog, and it doesn't need to be like dictatorial rules, okay? It just has to be a set of rules. And everybody follows those same set of rules for the dog, then you're not going to have issues. But most of the time, I've noticed the problem comes when there are differing sets of rules for the dog in the same home. Somebody allows on the furniture, somebody says no. Somebody plays with the dog when he's stolen something, somebody snatches. Somebody feeds by making the dog wait, somebody allows the dog to jump. And when you have so much of contradiction, you're going to end up with a dog that is living in a state of conflict. He's going to say, what am I allowed? When am I allowed? Is this going to be allowed? No, now. Yes, what? How? And that leads the dog to then eventually challenge it. Think of a home here with a child. Okay? Say if I have a child and she comes to me and she says, can I have chocolate? And I say, no, you're not allowed. It's bad for your teeth. And she runs to her grandfather and says, can I have? And he says, yeah, go have some. Two differing sets of rules. Now, the day will come when the grandfather says, no, your mom's put a flat no onto me. I'm not allowed to give. What do you think the child's going to do? They're not going to walk away accepting it. They're going to throw a tantrum. And dogs would do the same thing. If they say, we were allowed all of this and now you're stopping me, I might not be okay with that. So my suggestion is, if you want to even avoid it, try to have, when it comes to your dog's day-to-day life, try to have one set of rules. How you feed the dog, how you take him for a walk, how you put on a collar, is he allowed on the furniture or not? Now, when I work with most families, they say, there's no way we can agree. I get that. Nobody can. But how about if there was, say, a set of 10 rules, you all at least agreed on 6, and the dog knows the family is united. This should, I would say, nip the behavior in the bud altogether. Along with that, just simple basic training to build communication skills. Allow the dog to know you have communication skills. So when he feels stumped, when he doesn't know what to do, he leans towards you and says, hey, what are you saying to me? Let me understand it. In the past, the rules that we would give, I'm talking about over 30 years ago, the rules that we would give would be like, you eat before the dog eats. Don't allow the dog on furniture. Don't let the dog be standing above you. That all allows him to think he's superior to you. Don't allow the dog to sleep next to you on the bed. Don't allow the dog to enter and exit places before you as such, because then all of this allows him to think he is the pack leader. And then you're going to end up with a dominant dog. So what I'm saying is those rules have gone out of the window. We put new rules in place. 3 things, just off the top of my head, that you could do to avoid this, or if you already have it, you can bring it down. 1, try to have the whole family agree on one set of rules for the dog. 2, don't contradict a family member. If they're scolding the dog, you don't come in the middle and say, no, let him be. Because then the dog realizes there can be 2 roads to take over here, and he can get away with being naughty or badly behaved because a family member will support him. Remember, most of this comes because the dog thinks somebody in the family supports all of this. So watch out for that. And 3rd thing, throw out all of that, dominate the dog and control the dog and don't let him do this and don't let him steal. Just throw it all out. It doesn't really exist. They're just animals trying to live just like we are. Communicate, do basic training so they understand you. And I do think with all of this, the behavior should come down. So how did it end with that little Shih Tzu that I had gone to see? That woman convinced everybody that I had some sort of, I don't know, vampire blood or whatever in me, alpha dog blood. And she said, I'm telling you, you have it. I can sense it in you. I said, this is really creeping me out. Maybe it's just the 2 tequilas talking. But here's what I want to say. Regardless of all the TV shows that say it, regardless of people that say it, there is nothing like this alpha dog blood and alpha dog energy. Just be a normal person. Play with your dogs. Be a normal person. Be a good friend to them. And don't worry about what kind of blood you have coursing through your veins. If it's anything like mine, it's probably anemic.